Okay, let's get started. Again, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the GFAN Asia Pacific Partner Update Call number 6. Thank you for joining us today from across many time zones. We truly appreciate you making time to join us today, to be here with us today, because we know it's a very busy time of the year for all of us, and I think everyone's trying to finish on a strong note. My name is Jennifer Ho, and I'll be moderating today's call on behalf of GFAN AP. This call comes at a very important time following the Global Fund Replenishment Summit, and today's discussion will be about what those outcomes mean, how partners engage, and where we collectively go next in 2026. Next slide, please, Ken. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping notes to help keep session run smoothly. This session is conducted in English. We kindly ask participants to turn off your video and mic muted unless invited to speak. If you're experiencing slow bandwidth, please close any unnecessary applications on your device. Please feel free to use the public chat box to engage, share reflection, or pose questions throughout this session. Please also note that this session is being recorded and the recording will be shared on our social media channels after the event. And finally, GFAN AP is committed to provide a safe, inclusive, and respectful space. Harassment or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated and participants will be removed if necessary. Thank you all for your cooperation. Next. So just to briefly help frame today's discussion, the objective of this Partners Update calls are to unpack key outcomes and next step from the Global Fund 8th Replenishment Summit, to hear reflections from GFAN AP partners on the 8th replenishment engagement and process, and to understand and provide feedback on GFAN AP's thematic priorities and plan engagement for 2026. Next slide. So here's a quick overview of today's agenda. We'll begin with an opening remark from Lady Ross, the Global Fund Board Chair, and then move to a presentation on the 8th replenishment outcomes, implications, and opportunities from Pauline, followed by a short Q&A. Then we will hear updates and reflections from GFAN AP partners across the region about this year, and after that, we'll look ahead to GFAN AP's work in 2026. And finally, we'll close with a final Q&A and closing remark. And on that note, it is now my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker. We're honored to be joined by Lady Ross Murtha, the chair of the Global Fund Board. Lady Ross brings deep leadership and insights at a critical moment for the Global Fund and the broader global health community. We're very grateful for her time today and for her continue to engage with civil society and advocacy partners. Lady Ross, thank you for being here with us today. The floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Jen. And hello, everyone, from a very cold, dreary Geneva. I'm very pleased to be able to join you and to have the opportunity to thank GFAN Asia Pacific and partners for the extraordinary role you played in the 8th replenishment. Let me start with a sincere thank you to GFAN Asia Pacific, and in particular to Rachel Long, for her leadership, together with the GFAN AP team, in developing and coordinating the Moments That Define Us #More Now Than Ever campaign. It was a beautifully conceived and executed campaign, thoughtful, human, and highly effective in carrying our shared message across the region at a very difficult moment. I also want to thank all members of GFAN AP and the many community and civil society organizations who actively engaged through powerful sign-on letters with broad regional participation, in-country advocacy with donor embassies, and key moments such as the World Malaria Day event in Lao PDR and the UK Embassy event in Indonesia last month. All of these efforts truly mattered, and they were noticed. Special thanks also to civil society partners in donor countries across the region who led regional advocacy efforts in close collaboration with partners, particularly in Japan, Korea, Australia, and India. I also want to acknowledge Indonesia, which has stepped into a stronger donor advocacy role since the last replenishment, and we very much hope to hear its 8th replenishment pledge announcement very soon. I'd also like to extend a personal thanks to Ani Sari for sharing her powerful story through the Fabric campaign and for her participation at the Replenishment Summit in Johannesburg. It was a truly defining moment and reminder of why this work matters. If any of you haven't seen the final segment of the Replenishment Summit, do please go online and see it because it was quite extraordinary. All of this advocacy contributed to an outcome achieved in an exceptionally challenging global context, marked by geopolitical fragmentation, fiscal tightening, and declining development assistance for health. In that environment, the replenishment result at the summit, $11.34 billion on the day, with more having come in already and more expected. This is a remarkable collective achievement, and civil society leadership was essential in sustaining political attention and urgency. And with more pledges to come and needed, we need to keep pushing. As we look ahead, it is important to be both hopeful and realistic. In many countries, overall external financing for HIV, TB, and malaria will decline once reductions from other partners are taken into account. This means that the period ahead will require sharper focus, difficult choices, and a renewed commitment to protecting equity, community-led services, and impact where it matters most. This is where civil society and community leadership will be even more critical in 2026, not only in advocacy, but in helping ensure that constrained resources are used in ways that are inclusive, people-centered, and grounded in lived experience. The role GFAN Asia Pacific plays in connecting regional voices, sustaining solidarity, and shaping priorities will be more important than ever. So let me close by saying this has been a complex and challenging campaign, but it has also shown the resilience, creativity, and determination of civil society across the Asia Pacific. On behalf of the board, I want to thank GFAN, GFAN Asia Pacific, and all community and civil society partners for your leadership and collaboration. And I look forward to continuing this work together as we move from replenishment to delivery with confidence and shared purpose. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lady Ross, for those reflections and for your leadership, especially throughout the replenishment process. I think you will be able to, will you be able to stay with us for a few minutes?
Only just a few because I've got to rush to the Audit and Finance Committee, but Pauline will stay with you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again for being here with us today. And we will now move to a deeper dive, then transition into a deeper dive into the 8th replenishment outcomes, focusing on what those mean in practice and where opportunities lie for advocacy engagement moving forward. And then it is now my pleasure to next introduce Pauline Mazur, the advocacy specialist at the Global Fund. Pauline will walk us through the key outcomes of the 8th Replenishment Summit, as well as implications and opportunities ahead for partners and advocates. Pauline, thank you for being here with us today. Over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you so much, Lady Ross, for joining this call with the opening remarks. Indeed, in spite of this very busy agenda, the and the Audit and Finance Committee that is starting this morning with, soon after the opening, a session on update on resource mobilization. So just, for those who I don't know, I'm Pauline Mazoué. I'm working for the Political and Civil Society Advocacy Team in External Relation and Communication at the Global Fund Secretariat. So part of the team that have been working on the replenishment, and so working very closely with partners, GFAN Asia Pacific. So I will give you, I mean, and just to manage expectation about the analysis that we have so far on the replenishment is very, I would say, like limited, right? I mean, only just first because the replenishment summit took place on the 21st of November, not a long time ago, and we'll go through that. And you may have seen already, I mean, just by reading our press release or attending the general GFAN call, we're still working very actively on securing additional pledges that for some reason were not announced that day. So we're still very much in full replenishment campaign mode in some countries, like including France, EC, others. So for people like me working on those donor geography, we're not at the analysis level at the moment, but in pure campaign mode. So very nice to see you all. I won't repeat it, but I will echo the thank you message from Lady Ross to all of you for your support during this campaign. It's been a long and very bumpy year. It's been a crazy campaign, and so far what has been achieved in the current context is remarkable, and it's a remarkable collective achievement. And this is thanks to you and all the civil society advocacy partners with whom we've been working throughout the year. So next slide, please. So I will go, so I have 15 minutes for this presentation, and it's very important to have these partners debrief and discussion after. So I will go very quickly. You will have the slides. I left some slides that are hidden in this presentation that you will have in the handout. I will go very quickly through different, like the 4 elements, like the summit highlights, going back, explaining on the campaign, the rolling replenishment process, the journey so far, and then the outcome, and the composition of pledge, and the next step and road ahead. But the next step, which is still at this level for me, in my presentation about remaining advocacy between now and basically the end of January, basically before the next board meeting, because we need to have a maximum of pledge announced by the end of January before the next board meeting, so that these figures can be taken into account for the allocation that will be voted, approved at the next board meeting on the 12th, 13th of February. So next slide, please. So first of all, the summit, 21st of November, that took place in South Africa. You know that, co-hosted by UK and South Africa. So we had a very high-level event in presence of President Ramaphosa and Prime Minister Starmer. For those of you who've been, involved in past replenishment, a completely different format. It's the first time we had a pledging summit, pledging conference hybrid, and a very much shorter program, right? The program used to be over 2 days or 1 day and a half, and that was a very compact program of 3 hours and a half. And during that, this program, we try to balance substantial content, emotion, and of course, the announcement of pledges. Next slide, please. So we started with, as we did in the past, we started with an opening session with, remarks from, and in line with the Global Fund partnership, right? So we had remarks from the co-host, from the UN, Amina Mohamed, from private sector, from technical partners like, CITEDOSIS, and also from civil society. So here you see Cecilia Seno, who's currently the board member of Developing NGO Delegation, who was delivering remarks on behalf of the 3 civil society delegation. Next slide, please. Core of the program of that summit, the pledges. So we had organized the pledges announcement through the 4 different key themes of the 2 co-hosts. You see here the 30 speeches, or pledge, not pledge announcement, declaration of donors. And you will see on that list, those donors who have an asterisk are donors who delivered a speech of support, but at the day of the pledging summit, they were not in a position to make the pledge announcement. We'll go through that. Since then, we have one donor who have announced, Japan, and we have other donors like France, EC, Sweden, Indonesia, who have not announced yet, and we've been working very actively to have those hopefully announced by end of January. Next slide, please. Yeah, and here this is to give you an idea. So, hybrid format. So you had some of the pledges in person, like you can see on the left, and others were recorded or live video from different ministers or Secretary of States around the world. Next slide, please. In terms of, yes, we also have pledges in person or through video from private sector partner. This worth noting this year. So we had a unprecedented level of commitment from private sector with 1.34 billion, and we get back on the detail of that later on in the presentation. Next slide, please. Then, yes, the emotional moment of the program was these moments in which the four fabric advocates and Annie Sari, whom Lady Rose had mentioned in her speech, who was part of this campaign that you can see here on in blue, was part of that, and that was a very a beautiful moment. And we share the link if you want to watch it. Then next slide, please. Then the closing session in which we had the two co-hosts doing those remarks, and President Ramaphosa announcing the outcome of the figure that day. That was on 21st of November, $11.34 billion. Since then, it has a little bit evolved, and we're working every day actively to make it evolve upward until the next board meeting in February. Next slide, please. In terms of representation, you can see here, we had 5 head of state, 17 ministers, participation, 300% in person, which is much less than in past replenishment, 200 virtually. And also, we had made, organize a system so that, advocates could also watch through a GFAN retransmission. But of course, given the fact that was taking place late during the day, that was not optimal for partners from Asia Pacific. Sorry about this, but if you really want to watch some excerpts, you can find some in different pieces, some key moments. Next slide, please. So now going to the back, the journey to get there, to get to the replenishment summit. Next slide, please. So you've seen these timelines so many times. So you will remember, very difficult year. First pledge at Davos in January. Then, what happened. Election in the U.S. Well, not election, but that was before. But the inauguration in the U.S., the start of the stop orders, and so on. And we completely reassess our strategy, the launch of our communication campaign. So we managed to launch the replenishment in February. We launched the investment case. At the same time, we announced the second, the two co-hosts officially. And then throughout the year, we had what we call these rolling replenishment with the second pledge after we had the first one in January, but then the big pledge from CIF in April, followed by Takeda, and then the first European pledges in June with Norway, Spain, Luxembourg, and I won't follow and then you can see all the other pledges, building this momentum and having these additional pledges before the summit. Next slide, please. The co-host again, I mean, you can read in detail that, but like that was the first time we had a co-hosting system, equal partners, one donor country, one partner country. There was, it worked quite well in terms of complementarity for that aspect, also for the G20, the G7. So we had, there was this shared vision that was developed around the four key themes: solidarity, sustainability, innovation, equity. And so this has been working. I mean, we will be working on a full lesson learned, but so far, I mean, be it like the joint and separate diplomatic outreach events that took place throughout the campaign was very critical to our achievement so far. And the diplomatic outreach to donors who haven't pledged is still continuing very, very actively. Next slide, please. Longer version of the presentation that, so you will see in the deck will participate. I will unhide the slides I've been hiding because we don't have the time for that. And where you could see like on the G7, parliamentary partners, private sector, sorry, it's not GF, it's the role of global health and technical partners. If you want to watch the full version, it's been posted today on GFAN. We had a full hour presentation and Q&A last week. So next slide, please. But the slide I kept from this is the one on civil society and communities to again express our really, really deep appreciation for the collaboration this year. As usual, civil society played an absolutely critical role in our advocacy effort. The mobilization was incredible. But this year in particular, because of the extremely challenging, volatile political context, the level of adaptability, collaboration, flexibility, resilience has been phenomenal, and we've been like really well. We've been working really well together with you all through GFAN Asia Pacific, GFAN Africa, and I really wanted to recognize that. There have been like hundreds of letters, a number of global sign-ons, and I want to say that here really like GFAN Asia Pacific with the GFAN family has played a critical role in coordinating so many of those sign-on letters, but also events and many mobilization. And you've been adapting, I mean, being like more quiet when we said like it would be more useful to be quiet and more noisy, when we started, being more in a campaign mode later in the year. And again, I mean, just mentioning the voices of community is absolutely critical. Next slide, please. Media, here you will see, like we have some figures on the media and the campaign. Just want to stress something, like as I said, we started very quietly with the campaign. We had a very tailored strategy by geography. And for the campaign, we had a very, very focused approach. I mean, you will note, I mean, for example, I mean, the Stop at Nothing campaign, Stop at Nothing to End the 3 Disease, or, like a general, the 70 million reasons campaign failed. We launched it only in September. And up to that, we've been much more quiet in the campaign. And that was linked also to the context. Next slide, please. So getting to the number, next slide, please. Number 11, and so today we are at 11.86 billion. And the difference between the 11.34 is the announcement of Japan, which was basically the Tuesday after the summit. And Masaki will speak, I'm sure, about this, so I won't spend time on that. And as said, so far, but more to come. And every day we're hoping to be able to secure additional pledges, either through just an announcement, signing an announcement, or through a platform. And one of the platforms, the highest level platform that we have between now and end of January is Davos. So this is being considered for some donors. Everything is being discussed. But even with our platform, we're keen to announce. Next slide, please. In terms of composition of pledges, I mean, we are in the similar structure as in the past. If you look like, out of total, 80% is from G20, and within the G20, you have the G7, and so 77% is G7 plus European Commission. So 3% being G20 country who are not in the G7. The role, this is similar to past. Private sector is increasing now to 11%. And one new feature worth noting is Republic of Korea, and I see Hee Jong and colleagues are here on the call. So worth noting, so for the first time, Republic of Korea is qualified to join as a voting donor constituency on the Global Fund Board by maintaining its pledge. And that's the first time that the donor constituency's composition is changing since 2006. So this change also show to donors who may consider increasing that, this is, I mean, they knew it is a possibility, but at last, this is moving. So that could be an incentive for other, like not new donor or, increasing donor. Next slide, please. Yes, we had a number of pledges from partners country, some pledges from, and more pledges from among partners country, from the African continent, with a total of over like 50 million. It's still less than in the past replenishment, but in view of the very difficult context, it's quite remarkable. And in their announcement, these African countries made a big point also on the increasing domestic financing. And South Africa also doubled its pledge. Now we acknowledge and very thank India. I mean, announced the pledge from 25 to 30, so it's an increase of 20%. And we very much look forward to the announcement of the Indonesia pledge, and I'm sure Danielle perhaps would share some update or on where we stand on this. Next slide, please. Private sector again, yeah. So we have increased. We're now at 1.34, and among that, Gates Foundation remains the biggest private sector donor. They maintain. CIF, the Children Investment Fund Foundation, had a major increase. They pledged a further 135. They had already pledged earlier this year, so that's a total of 200 for the year, but 65 were already allocated to GC7. Then RED continue, but they had decreased, and other donors. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. So again, yeah, so when talking about next steps, I mean, for me and a few people, I mean, in the team still, it's very much what's, between now and end of November. And especially for those donors, major donors. Here, I mean, when you look at France, EC, Japan, they hadn't pledged, but now they have. And they are very big pieces. So France was not in a position to pledge because the French budget is still being discussed at Parliament. So the civil society advocacy has continued after the 21st, non-stop. That day, I mean, with press release, there was a lot of press after that, and that continued into the World AIDS Day. I've never seen so many media and comms activation. This continues. There's still a lot of work being done by advocates with member of parliaments, and there's actually also an event I'm doing tomorrow. I mean, which is about nurturing this relationship with parliament and key member of the government by the Team Zero Malaria, so Friends Europe and other partners organizing that tomorrow. It's very late to organize an advocacy event, close to the holiday season, but just to show you that it's still very much active. and hopefully, we have like France has a budget, France still has a government, and France is able to announce before the end of January. EC, the reason why they haven't pledged that day is for like different reason. We are more optimistic on also on the figure. So we need like really positive and sustained advocacy throughout until they are able to announce the vote. And this is linked to the Council of Europe. So there was already like a statement that was signed by 330 organizations, CSO, and thank you so much. I know many of you have participated in that. There was also an event on December 2, and there's a civil society campaign that is planned to continue in January towards Davos. Japan, Masaki will speak further about it. There was a short-term strategy for in view of the high-level forum on UHC. There will be a midterm and a longer term. Indonesia, again, I mean, we very much hope to have a pledge soon. Sweden was not also able to pledge, and we hope they pledge by the end of the month. But on this, the signal we got from Sweden, like on advocacy, it's fine. We receive all the letters, all the things. It's so more like, the indication is to put it on pause. And the Gulf countries, the reason why they haven't pledged, it's just a matter of like the file being stuck, with signature in this office or that. It's these donors are also like very much, like linked to like a principal signature. So but I've seen like GFAN and other MENA partners have continued some effort. So to be followed. Next slide, please. This is So in terms of next step, and that is very much what we do. I mean, if for every replenishment, like, so we know what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to work on thanking every donor, every partner, every advocate who was part of this replenishment campaign. What is new compared to past replenishment at this time is that we are indeed very much active in ongoing resource mobilization efforts, especially for those missing pledges. But we'll continue even beyond the board meeting with new opportunities. Again, and pledge conversion. I mean, this is not new. We've always been working very actively with advocate on pledge conversion in past replenishment, but given the context, that will be even more so in the coming year. So we count on you also for that. And the lesson learned exercise also will be a big piece next year. And then at last, not least, I mean, the inform stakeholders of progress and share stories about the impact, which is like, so important. And that's about investment and showing the investment work. Every dollar counts. So voilà, I'm done. Sorry, a bit over time. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Pauline. No worries. Thanks again for that very clear and informative presentation. I think just looking and listening to you, I'm just dawning on me that it really has been a very packed but also impactful year of collaboration with you, colleagues at the Global Fund Secretariat, and all of GFAN AP partners. So thank you so much again for a very busy but an impactful year. So I know we're a little bit over time, but I do want to open the floor for a short Q&A. I think we could perhaps take one question, but participants are also invited to type their questions into the chat box for Pauline if you would like. If you would like to pose a question to Pauline, please utilize the raise hand button on your Zoom, or feel free to type your questions in the chat box. I currently do not see anyone with hands raised button. If that's the case, perhaps then we could let's move on to the partner sharings and update. And Pauline will be with us for a bit. So continue to feel free to use the chat box function if you have any question for Pauline and colleagues at the Global Fund Secretariat as well. So again, let's move on to the sharing and updates by the partners. During this session, we'll hear brief reflections and updates from our partners across the region, but also from across the globe. First up, I would like to invite, I think it's Priyanka from the Global Fund Advocates Network to share with us reflections and lessons learned from GFAN Global. Priyanka, may I give the floor over to you?
Thank you, Jen. I hope my audio is clear, and if you can hear me well, a thumbs up from you would be really, really appreciated, Jen, before you go off of camera. Great, fantastic. Okay, so I have a couple of slides to share, and I'm just going to pop them onto the screen. Most of what I wanted to cover and wanted to talk about has already been covered by the previous presenters. So I'm going to go fairly quickly over my slides, at least the first two, and then share reflections on what we expect the next steps to be and how we would like to sort of be more supportive and bring more information to the larger GFAN community and what is the role that we expect to play. I'm going to quickly, hello everyone. I'm just going to quickly now switch off my video so that there isn't an issue with the bandwidth and everybody is able to hear me well. So, as Pauline has already said, that the replenishment amount that was announced was USD 11.8 billion. The Japan pledge came out soon after, but we have been tracking the pledges on our website as well. Few of you might already have seen the Global Fund Advocates Network pledging tracker, as we've been calling it. I'm going to share the link for the tracker as well very, very soon in the chat box. But basically, our total is on the basis of the actual pledges that have been announced till date. So that's why you'll see a difference in the total amount on the GFAN pledge tracker as opposed to the amount that the Global Fund has been using. This is not to say that there is a discrepancy, but basically we expect a few pledges to come in, and those pledges haven't yet been announced. And as Lady Ross said, as Pauline said, this is still an ongoing replenishment. So what you'll see on our tracker are the pledges that have been announced publicly, and the others that are still in the pipeline are not reflected there. So that's why you'll see slight difference in the numbers. We've talked about this already, but a lot of the large donors, France, European Commission, and Sweden, which is a mid-sized donor, have not yet pledged. And of course, all of the Gulf donors have also not yet pledged to the Global Fund. So specifically for the Gulf donors, what we have done as GFAN is launched an animated video that specifically talks about Global Fund and Global Fund being smart solidarity, because the Gulf donors are uh, more newer donors, so to speak. So they bring a certain sense of optimism and a certain sense of leadership to the entire landscape. So the animated video sort of is a tool that talks to that aspect or that lens that they bring to the fight. And we've been circulating it on our listserv and is also available on our social media. So if you have the time and can help us amplify those resources, that will be really, really helpful. So that's specifically related to the advocacy towards the Gulf donors. Apart from that, today is the World UHC Day, and we also have put out some specific advocacy material towards the France, European Commission, and Sweden to refer to this momentous day and talk about why it is important continue to invest in the fight and continue to invest in the Global Fund. Again, links to those tweets and the advocacy material I will put in the chat box very, very soon. So it'll be really, really helpful if you could take a quick second to retweet, post, share, amplify on your networks and on your social media so that we can continue the collective action as we have done throughout the past year. And of course, a huge kudos to everyone on this call and the partners who are, of course, not in attendance for the strong campaign that all of us, GFAN, GFAN Asia Pacific, GFAN Africa, and the network at large have been able to put together and mount. So huge kudos to that. What we do expect to come down in the pipeline specifically from the Global Fund Secretariat, as Pauline mentioned, the larger call, the debrief call that we have had with the Global Fund Secretariat is now available on our website. So in case you're looking for more information or need to dig in a little deeper, please feel free to go to our website and check out the recording for that. It is still an ongoing replenishment, but it is definitely difficult to sugarcoat it. The outcome has not been what we had expected it to be, but that means that there is still hope. That means there is still need to continue to push forward. There is still need to continue to advocate and move forward stronger together. And for that, what you can expect from us is um, we will immediately on the 17th have a webinar for GFAN members and partners to sort of talk about what to expect in GC8. What does then the allocation methodology look like? What is it that you can do next when it comes to the on ground in country conversations that are going to start happening very, very soon? Because the pledges are hopefully going to come in by the board meeting, the Global Fund board meeting, which is going to happen in Feb 2026. And that would sort of be the goalpost marker to count them towards GCA. And this will happen in parallel with the grant making processes at the country level. So this is going to be slightly different in terms of what we have seen in the past, because the replenishment timeline has become more extended because of the year that we have had and because of the challenging financial landscape that we are operating in. So these two moments will happen together. So we want to be able to support our larger community in being able to have as much information as needed, as much arsenal is needed for you to be able to have effective conversations at the ground level. And in the hopes of being able to do that, we are organizing a webinar on the 17th, which is going to basically precisely talk about what to expect next and what is and even if you were specifically, if this is your first replenishment, I would highly recommend attending it. And if you are a seasoned
Wrap it up. Sorry. I'm just
if you're a seasoned Global Fund advocate, I would still think that this would be important. I have to close now, but happy to take any questions afterwards. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Sorry to interrupt. We do have a number of partners to go through. But thank you for that. I think that was quite informative and quite clear. Just a kind reminder to our partners to please keep your sharing to 5 minutes maximum if possible. And thanks again to Priyanka for the update from GFAN Global. Next, let me invite Rosemary from GFAN Africa to please share with us GFAN Africa. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Jen. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, this afternoon, to share quick reflections from the GFAN Africa perspective. It's a pleasure to join the GFAN AP debrief meeting. Thank you for inviting us. And I have 4 very quick points. The first one is to say a warm thank you to GFAN AP for the collaboration throughout the year. as you know, we have journeyed together, and this has been made possible by the communities and civil society in the region that we work with in the Asia Pacific region and the Africa region. We collaborated in many ways, and on behalf of GFAN Africa, thank you, and we look forward to working together. We do know that our regions are different, but we bring together, implementing country perspectives. We bring together the resilience of communities and civil society, and that's the one thing that is common for us. And so, working on our campaigns, more now than ever, one Africa, one world, one fight, and the solidarity makes it possible for our regional campaigns to be successful. The second thing is that even though we did a lot of mobilization in the lead up to the replenishment, we do know that, as has been presented by Pauline and Priyanka, we are not done yet. We have missing pledges. We still need to continue to raise our voices and to do the mobilization that we have done. And so we are looking forward to this kind of, work. We will definitely be guided by the Secretariat. We will work in collaboration with GFAN. We will work in collaboration with you all in Asia Pacific to make sure that the key moments, the key entry points, the leverage that we can bring is strong. The implications around Grant Cycle 8 have been mentioned very well. We are very much aware of those. And so this is to say we are not done and will continue until we actually meet the target. The third thing is to say that, as you know, with the 8th replenishment, we didn't see as many implementing country pledges as we had done in previous, especially in the 7th replenishment. We had quite a more, African countries pledging in the 7th replenishment. We didn't see that, but we've been reflecting on that and acknowledging that we twinned our campaign with domestic resource mobilization as an objective, but also because the 8th replenishment was also affected by the stop work order. And so as we went into our countries mobilizing our leadership, we were always confronted by the challenge around the fact that at the country level, there were difficulties even of ensuring that we could sustain services, we could keep or reduce the distractions. And so there was always a struggle around messaging at the country level. But I did want to appreciate the resilience of implementing countries who either showed up or who actually spoke up in support of the Global Fund. But I think the most important thing is to see that during the pledging conference, most of the implementing countries that spoke, they also spoke about the desire for sustainability. And that is actually the Global Fund pillar or area of work that they really focus in their remarks. So we see an opportunity where we can continue to position the Global Fund as a partner, as a friend who journeys with our countries in that journey or pathway towards sustainability, but also as a global health institution that have created and facilitated platforms that contribute to universal health coverage, platforms for procurement, pooled resources, logistics, and so many other, including the linkage to primary healthcare. So we see a narrative there that from an implementing country, we can continue to shape, in addition to our messaging around the Global Fund being one of the best global financing mechanism. I want to thank you, and I look forward to our continued journey together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that music. Thank you. We put a timer on just so that I am better at keeping time of the speakers. But thank you so much, Rosemary, for keeping to time. Next, let me invite Masaki Inaba from Africa Japan Forum to share with us HAF work and engagement. Masaki, it's over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody and to participate in this very precious opportunity of the webinar of the GFAN AP. I will share my slide. Can you see the slide? Okay. Yeah, yeah, it was very unfortunate that Japan halved its pledge for the Global Fund in this time, the eighth limit, so that we were very shocked. And stakeholders and related to Global Fund in Japan has been everybody has been shocked until this how to say the reduction of the Japanese pledge. The pledging meeting on November 21st, Mr. Oba, who is representing the Japanese government, he didn't make any pledges and just praised the role of the Global Fund and Japan's contributions. And after that, 4 days after, on November 25th, Japan pledged the Japanese yen, 81 billion Japanese yen. And how to say, and it was shown by the MOFA's website that it pledged JPY 81 billion Japanese yen, and it means that the 512 million the US dollars, and it is a 52% reduction compared to the last pledge in 2022. In this opportunity, Japan pledged 1 billion and 0.0 1 billion and 08 million 1.08 billion US dollars. So it is a 52% reduction. So that we are very much shocked. And compared to other countries, Japan's reduction is very big. Other countries just 10% or 20% or so, but Japan reduced 52%, so that it was very much surprising amount of money and amount pledge, and we are very shocked. So, the government of Japan hasn't expressed any official reasons of the reduction, but there are some possible reasons that triggered the decision. One is that the weaker Japanese yen. Maybe you know that in 2022 and in the last pledge, Japanese yen one USD and US dollar was 108 Japanese yen, but now one US dollar is the 150 Japanese yen in official exchange rate. So it is a 28% reduction, so that of course that we can understand that the Japanese government can pay how say reduced capacity and to in Japanese yen and to contribute for the global fund. But it can't justify 52% reduction because that it is the yen's value was reduced then only 28%. And the secondly, public opinion against ODA. In Japan, anti-ODA public opinions have been growing, as well as xenophobia, especially among the far-right constituencies, which has been growing rapidly. But in general, some public opinions doesn't change so much, according to the survey of public opinion on diplomacy report. It was made by Japanese government in November. So that the public opinion, of course, that there are strong, currently growing public opinion against ODA. But anyway, it cannot explain everything about this reduction. And there are two other issues. One is the recent policy trend in Japan. Recent policy trend among the government of Japan. It is how to say the from aid to investment, or for example, graduate from grant aid, or for example, from global interest to national interest. Um, this kind of trend has been led by the revision of the Development Cooperation Charter. It is the main Japanese ODA related constitution or something. And in 2023, and also the healthcare policy phase 3, it was launched in 2024. And this kind of the key policy documents of Japan all leading this kind of the trend. So this is very much challenging. And current EHC trend also here, it's policy seeking exit strategy from grant aid for health and to go more for loan and domestic resource mobilization. And also structural problem of ODA budget was there and is there. Japan's ODA core budget is small, $30 billion, and how say the most of the money for the Google Fund, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Health Ministry, used the supplementary budget. But the Ministry of Finance is more reluctant and this ministries to do it recently. So on core budget, and there is a ceiling and also competition with the other prioritized money, such as the JICA money or the money for WHO. And it is very difficult for Global Fund to win that competition. So these challenges are there. This is final slide. How can we fight back? It is very important point. In short time, it is very difficult to change the decisions, which once made by Ministry of Finance, Foreign Affairs, and Health Ministry with the highest proposal. But it is very risky for the government. And if they recognize that this decision was accepted without any resistance and without any particular problems, and also if there are no challenges, it may send a wrong message to other donors that haven't made pledges yet. So our one we have been planning how to fight back. But anyway, so there are one scenario, and in short time, it is necessary to show that this level of pledge is not sufficient to achieve the goals. Rather, call challenges with effective and appropriate way. So we need to deliver our messages. And also in mid and long term, with multi-stakeholder efforts, we need to develop an opportunity for government of Japan to make a top-up pledge. So we are now in the stage of planning our strategy to fight back. But anyway, we are very much sure that we need to find a way, and also we need to get a top-up pledge of Japan in mid and long term. So anyway, thank you very much, and please give me questions and comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Masaki-san. And as always, your brilliance in negotiating and engaging with the Japanese government partner has just been amazing. So thank you so much again for your collaboration and leadership on that front. Let me next invite Hee-Jeon from Korea, South Korea, KHEH, to give us an update from South Korea. Hee-Jeon, over to you.
Could you show my slide?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
getting us. Yeah,
So
there we go.
this is Hee-Jung at Korean Advocates for Global Health. So I will share Korea's recent commitment to the Global Fund. So second slide. First, I would like to share the growth of our Global Fund pledges. Korea's contribution for the Global Fund has been increasing steadily. We saw a significant surge, especially since the seventh replenishment, that was fourfold more than sixth replenishment. This growth has been truly remarkable, and what drove this increase? It because of the COVID-19 pandemic raised the awareness of the critical importance of global solidarity, and secondly, global leadership. There was a clear recognition that Korea can and should take on global health leadership and responsibilities. And also thirdly, because of our national target, we made an international commitment to increase our ODA GNI ratio to 0.3% by 2030. So that's why the previous government drastically increased our ODA volume as well as Global Fund pledge, but our Global Fund pledge growth has far exceeded the general growth rate of our overall ODA budget. So in fact, based on the 8 replenishment pledge GNI ratio for 2025, Korea now rank 13th among all donors up to now, but it's compared to our national economy, even though we increase our replenishment pledge, still it is lower than our economy. So, but this is a significant jump from our 20th rank in the 7th replenishment. So, and next slide. Next, I want to highlight the strong commitment beyond the most recent pledge. Even though the pledge is maintained, the context of Korean situation was very challenging, same as the other countries. For 2026, the Foreign Affairs and Unification budget was reduced by 10%. And also the overall ODA budget also experienced a sharp cut of 22%. And crucially, humanitarian aid was cut by 50%. In this atmosphere of budget reduction, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs originally was preparing for the Global Fund 8 pledge being decreased. However, the pledge amount was ultimately maintained just before the 8th replenishment submit. This decision was due to the president's strong will and commitment. The Global Fund pledge was even announced as a successful outcome of the president's participation in the G20 Leaders Summit in South Africa. This commitment has two key rationales. First one is securing leadership in global governance, particularly obtaining a voting seat under Global Fund Board. And secondly, expanding the global public market access for Korea's health and bio industries. So next slide. Our advocacy played one of our crucial role in maintaining this pledge. Our advocacy activities included collaboration with international networks such as letters from GFAN Asia Pacific and GFAN Global and even GFAN Africa. We also maintained close cooperation with the media to promote our messages. And the activity that showed the most direct impact was our partnership with the Parliamentary Network. We joined the Parliamentary Forum on Sustainable Development and Humanitarianism as a partner organization. And through this partnership, we co-host high-level roundtable and two study tours and proposed global health policy recommendations to the Presidential Election Committee. And also, we emphasize the cooperation with Korean bio industries through the Korea Global Fund Procurement Forum. And this is the last slide. And next one. And finally, so still, despite this challenges, we maintain the pledge amount as same as 7th replenishment. We have to go more over, and our message in the future will be the maintenance is not enough. So we will focus on our advocacy, more on parliamentary advocacy, since the current administration is the ruling party in the National Assembly. So the parliament holds significant influence over the government, and also we will continue our strong cooperation with the media and international networks, including GFAN and etc. And also we will focus on our advocacy area for active involvement in the new 5-year ODA strategy. It is still preparing, and the preparation team said they are considering to mention about some specific global health organization. One of them is Global Fund. So we will pushing the advocacy for reform of this 5-year ODA strategy. They can include the Global Fund as a strategic partner, and also we will focus on linkage with the G20. Korea will host G20 in 2028. So the government is preparing the G20 2028 from 2026. So we will also focusing on G20 and also fostering collaboration with the bioindustry sector, and also we are considering to raise public awareness and building broad support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Thanks again, Hee-jun, for that clear presentation, especially for your leadership on engagement with the South Korean parliamentarian. And I think we've really appreciated your guidance on the political landscape and ever shifting of the South Korean political situation and the linkage with the G20 and other important political space. Let me next invite Daniel from Spertia, Indonesia, to give some reflection and update from Indonesia situation. Daniel, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Yeah, I'm Daniel from Spiritia Foundation Indonesia. Let me give you at least a brief what we have been doing with GFAN, especially, and also with the global. So there are some activities engagement that Spiritia or Indonesia has been engaging in the mobilized resources to the donors. We supporting the letters to GFAN AP or GFAN works with 100 signatures of the national NGO, local NGO to the donors letter. And also we have been supporting also the signatures to the letters for the donor through the embassy in Indonesia. And we conduct the embassy event with GFAN AP, collaborate with UK embassy, present by Vice Health Minister of Indonesia. There are a few ambassador who present, like UK ambassador, Ireland ambassador, and a lot of embassy representative, France, Singapore, Japan, Australia, and a lot of them. So also we provide a letter sent to our Indonesian president asking 100 million USD to the egg replenishment of to the pledge. Then also we has been engaged for providing letters to Indonesian private sectors also with the letters relate with the Indonesian commitment. What I do understand, I met with the health minister, Budi, at the 1st December, and I was discussed with him where we are, the update, and he told me that we still wait the approval by the president, the letter or the proposal from Minister of Health. It's already on the table of the president, so still wait for the approval. I cannot say how much. I know the amount, but I can't. It's sensitive. But we propose 100 million. Their amount, the number that is proposed by health minister and those things, and those related with some amount, and that we need to wait. I don't know when. Then the 4th December, I was in the meeting with Vice Health Minister Dante. Dante is also the Global Fund board member, represent the Southeast Asia constituents. he told us in the meeting that by 4th December that Indonesia will announce to the pledge in the next 2 weeks. So which is, let's say, uh, 18 December expectedly will know the amount. What I heard, it's the commitment is there. Uh, what should I say? Seems like at least the same amounts, the same amount with the previous will be there, but because it will propose to the president the bigger amount than the last one, so that's why we need to wait the approval. So I don't know. It can be need to wait another time. Like Pauline just raised, the force can be one of the time to announce. We'll see then. And so also we already sent some the letters to advocate mobilize resources to the Indonesian private sectors also. Uh, that's the situation. So it's beyond our capability right now because we have been doing everything. It's just with the approval by the president, and we already sent the letter to the president by civil society, facilitated by Spiritia. Uh, Also, I need to raise a few another two things. One, it's December 8th, Mark Lagan from Friends of Global Fight visited us in Jakarta. And then I and him, we met with the CCM chair. We discussed a lot because Indonesia will potentially will come to the transition list of the Global Fund for GCH. Then we discussed a lot about debt to health because Indonesia got debt to health from Germany for 75 million euro, and he willing to continue to access, but need to discuss how to start, who need to engage. We know for time being Australia, Germany, and Spain, who the donors country, open the door for the debt to help mechanism. I think whatever we are in the amount that in the pledge what we have, we need to continue and that to help one of the mechanism. And Indonesia, what I understand, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia, Vietnam, and some other in Asia, it will become in the transition list of GCA. So that will be a challenge also. That to help will answering some of the gap for them when in the decision by February they are in the list. And also looking at those process and what we have been engaging and successing to get almost 12 billions. But another challenge for us need to discuss urgently the resilience of communities because we know there is a risk for communities in many countries in GCA. It will be collapsed with some other reasons, and also how we can do advocate not only for global fund, but I think it's starting for us also to advocate to the global fund how that the total budget, the almost 12 billion, will go to whom and where and how. And also, we have to make sure resilience of communities will be continued, especially for some countries with transition pace, or like HIV maybe will more. As Africa will be priority, so where is Asia? And then TB it will be Asia will be priority. Where is Africa for the TB? And with the malaria, with the limited resources, except the Global Fund, also the challenge. I think the Global Fund board and their team, the steering committee ad hoc, they're working this month or next month to provide a recommendation to Global Fund, and we have to advocate them strongly. Also, it's not only about how to get 14 or 15 billion, but how it will use, how it will be distributed, and to make sure resilience one of priority need to highlight and important to advocate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And then I guess one of the key messages that we look forward to a bigger amount of pledging from the Indonesian government. And thank you also for the reminder about how we need to continue to work on mobilizing domestic resources and through various innovative finance mechanisms, such as the debt to health, and focusing on advocating for resource directly to civil society as we go forward. Thank you again for that. Lastly, let me transition to invite our last partner sharing from India working group, Aman, to share with us updates from their work and going forward as well. Aman, are you with us? And the floor is yours. And
Yes,
again, apologies for the 5 minutes maximum limitation, but please try to keep to that. Thanks, Aman. Over to you.
thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm not able to share my screen. Can you please help me with the sharing rights?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's good now. Hello everyone, good afternoon and good morning from wherever you're joining. My name is Aman Shukla and I'm representing India Working Group for Health Advocacy as in the capacity of coordinator. As we all know, India Working Group for Health Advocacy is an informal group, has an equal representation from people with and affected by HIV, TB, and malaria and other key and vulnerable population. The main reason for this group is to advocate for increased domestic health expenditure and global funds investment. The key activities that we did in 2025 was engaging CSR partners. We did an event where we brought in a lot of CSR partners and communities and bilateral partners to come on one platform and discuss about the community fund. And this was in this consultation and in this meeting, there were a lot of partners who were willing to support and contribute into HIV, TB, and malaria. This was an effort to kind of bring the CSR into a discussion and a conversation about funding the community. And thereafter, we also, as an effort to do an embassy advocacy and support the Global Fund's eighth replenishment, we mobilized 286 CBOs signing on the letters that we shared among our group. We also organized a national community workshop to disseminate India investment case document, which is a document that gives an evidence and data and community's perspective on how much the country should be investing into their health from the GDP, but also bringing the informations and the best practices from other countries like Sri Lanka, Nepal, Brazil, talking about how they have invested into their health system and built their community resilience. With this also we have kind of did a youth-led capacity building with the youth-led organizations working in HIV, TB, and collectives from malaria to engage young people's voices in the replenishment. And this is how you will see on our social media, on our webinars, on our workshops. There are a lot of young people engaging into the replenishment and talking about the Global Fund's investment and the impact that they have got from the Global Fund's investment in India. The In the continuation, we also when there was a visit from the country team, Global Fund's country team, and the chair of the Global Fund, Lady Rosaline, we also facilitated the conversation and strengthened the community's commitment during that discussion. We emphasized and talked about how communities are leading into this and supporting the Global Fund's eighth replenishment. And IWG was very much happy to facilitate this conversation in collaboration with Alliance India, GFAN AP. You can see the pictures of Lily Rosaline and our champion and me standing behind, welcoming them in India and talking about the community's perspective and Global Fund's eighth replenishment and the India's contribution. We were very much also happy to advocate with our government to kind of invest 100 million US dollar in the Global Fund's eighth replenishment. Of course, that was not able to like 800 million US dollar was a good ambitious goal, but it was good to see that Indian government was able to contribute 20% increase in the investment from the previous pledge, and that is a progress. And we are very much happy to continue advocating with the government to take the lead into global health and contribute more in the in the more in the upcoming in the next pledge, and to take the lead into global health. With this also with this we also collaborated with GFAN AP and other partners, initiated a renewed engagement with the donor embassies. We did an outreach with the UK, US, Canada, France, South Africa, Sweden, and Germany to advocate for increased contribution in the global fund. A dedicated advocacy letter was drafted with the guidance of GFAN AP and the champions from IWG who took an initiative and advocated with the embassies in India. There was a lot of there was a lot of campaigns and the videos and the discussion.
And let's time up. So if you could please
Yes.
wrap it up in 45 seconds, that would be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is my last slide. So there was a lot of campaigns that we did on our social media also to engage the communities and to be informed about the Global Fund's aid replenishment. And then going forward, we will continue to do the campaign on thank you campaign by engaging by continue engaging with the donors and thanking them to contribute into the aid replenishment. We will continue to also to push for 5% GDP of health investment, and continue to engage with the private sector to invest in community and domestic health financing, and especially to engage them with the global fund to prepare them from now and to prepare them to contribute into the global funds replenishment in next time, and continue supporting global funds replenishment, mobilize communities and civil society from HIV, TB, and malaria for meaningful engagement in domestic health financing. Thank you, everyone. And if there is any question, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Raman, and thanks again for keeping to time. Again, please, if anybody have any questions for any one of our speakers, please feel free to utilize the chat box.
I'm going to just quickly wrap up everything and give a very quick overview of the work that we've been doing so far this year, and also just come up a few of our key priorities for next year. So first of all, a huge thank you to all of you and many of the other partners that are not on the call for all the work that has been done this year. The work that we have done as GFAN AP wouldn't be able to be accomplished without all of you. So we really appreciate everything and all the efforts of all our partners that are present with us and are not with us at this point of time. I think many of you have been involved with many of the activities that we've conducted over the year, including the APFSD meeting that we jointly co-organized with the Africa-Japan Forum early on this year. There were many of the activities that we held in Japan because Japan is a major donor. For example, TCAD, for example, APEC, as well as recently the UHC, as well as UNITAID board meeting. We worked very closely with our partners in Laos for the World Malaria Day. So thank you so much, Vieng and Ptakon, for all the efforts in terms of getting everything organized in such short notice. We thank our partners in bringing our materials along, Blessy as well, for to a union conference, and many of our other partners that we've worked throughout the year. So a couple of key priorities that we are looking at for next year. Many of you are very concerned around the impacts of the USAID cuts. It's still ongoing. It's not over yet. We tend to forget. So we had a very brief meeting with our 7 Alliance partners last week or the week before last. I'm losing track of time already, but we will be actually conducting earlier next year a short survey just to understand more about whether there are continued impacts, because we still need to be able to tell the story about where there are funding gaps and to be able to provide the evidence to our donors in terms of that. In that sense, we will be working very closely with our country partners and our regional partners in terms of looking at domestic resource mobilization efforts. More importantly, like Daniel also pointed out, innovative financing mechanisms such as debt to health and also social contracting. And we are exploring possibilities at the airline levy. We will be working as well more around private sector as well as private foundations, mobilizing and making the connections more, because these relationships do take time. Either they would be at the domestic level partnerships, or to the Global Fund. These relationships need to be nurtured. We will also be working a lot on we will continue our work on international or regional political platforms, such as the G20, the G7, but also looking at our region, ASEAN and APEC. There will also be the focus of sharing more information around governance body decisions, such as the Global Fund governance with the Learning Hub, as well as 7 Alliance partners. And we will be in 2 days or 2 days time. And Ken can share the link if you've not registered yet, to share more broadly the impacts or to share more around UNITAID, which is also rolling out a lot of new technologies on malaria, TB, and HIV, no more notably on land. We will also be exploring and sharing more information about the global health architecture and its impacts, or the impacts of the development financing on global health architecture. GFAN AP will also next year, if we can find the funding for this, begin to renew our strategy, our next 5-year strategy. So we'll be working and reaching out to many of our partners on this. I just wanted to go back to something that was mentioned just now by Pauline, as well as also raised by Daniel. So we will continue advocating for more money to the Global Fund even after February. So it doesn't stop in February, but just flagging that it will be really important when the country dialogues start, to ensure that your country dialogues will be able to demonstrate its full demand. This is so that when additional funding comes in, there will be also the possibility for funders to be able to fund unfunded quality demand. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank all of you again. Please look out for our publication on the work of GFAN AP and all of you by the end of February, by the end of January, latest mid-February, for all the amazing work that you've done together to make GFAN AP shine so much. So just flagging that GFAN AP is not just a secretariat. I do really appreciate the hard work that Jennifer and Ken has put in this year, but GFAN AP is really made up of all of you. Thank you, Pauline, as well as Rosemary, for the amazing partnerships and collaborations this year. We've been able to complement the work that we've done so well with each other. And I would like to again thank all the country partners, our 7 Alliance partners, in all the work that we've been doing this year. So thank you, all of you. I think Jen has to drop off a call at this point already. So I'm not sure. Is Blessy, you're still on the call? Would you like to take a couple of minutes as the chair for GFAN AP, just to say a couple of words before we wrap up the work for this year, as our final updates call for GFAN AP?
Yeah, thank you so
Sorry to
much.
put you on the spot.
That's okay. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for organizing this lovely call. And once again, thank you to all the partners who have come and shared. And it's clearly an indication that it is only together we can achieve whatever we want to. And it was extremely encouraging to hear Lady Ross and also Pauline, the updates of the replenishment meeting, and we're very grateful, I think, for everyone who has had a part in making this possible. And very encouraging to see our young people on stage representing, and I think they spoke very powerfully. So for our own Ani from our region, big thanks, and we look forward to working with everyone in the new year. Thank you so much for your hard work, and let's keep working together, talking together, and planning together. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, and thank you all the partners for joining us on the call again. And so on behalf of GFAN AP and all others that are not here, thank you again for your work. I can't express how amazing it has been this year, even if the result has been slightly underwhelming and disappointing. But it only shows that we need to get together to be able to achieve more now than ever. So thank you, all of you. Have a great day. And we'll see you again early next year. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.